हरि ओम। ओम सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्रुति स्मृति पुराणानाम आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शंकरं लोकशंकरम् शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतो वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयम् नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ओम श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। हरि ओम। We are in the introductory sessions for the Brahma Sutra Bhashya of Shankaracharya. A very commonsensical approach to life slowly evolves into extraordinary philosophical questions. All those who live or lead the life do realize certain problems with the life. Although the variety of the issues or the problems that we face in our life are multiple, the majority of them can be subtracted by only one word, and that is dukkham. If dukkham had not been there, if sorrow is not there in life, whether the curiosity to know anything would exist or not is a big question. Yadi dukkham na syat, jidnyasa api na bhavet. This is one of the scriptural utterances. There is a sense of incompleteness in life, apurnata. That apurnata leads to multitude of desires. There is a feeble and a strong, both attempts to complete that incompleteness, leading to desire after desire, and none of the desire, howsoever fulfilled, come to the right fruition, in the sense that the incompleteness is lost. The incompleteness remains. In an attempt to complete the incompleteness or inadequacy, a human being continues to do efforts after efforts till he realizes that the instrument through which he is doing it, the body, is continuously undergoing change. The nature is changing, the objects are changing, so is the subject. And one day the subject vanishes. Mrityu. All this leads to a necessity, an absolute necessity, an incessant desire to achieve a state where there is no incompleteness, where there is no desire, there is nothing to be achieved or attained. And naturally, such a stage will not be subject to decay or death, avikaritva. And such a stage, logically speaking, cannot be many, it has to be unique. So the conclusions that are coming from the corollary of this thinking brings us, or the human beings, to a point that there has to be something which is ekameva dvitiya vastu, which is desireless, which has amaratva into it, from which everything emanates, which never changes. And such a thing is then given the name as ultimate truth, Purna Satya, Antima Satya, or it is designated as Vastu, Bhauma, Brahma, even by the name of a favorite deity as Narayana, Vishnu, Krishna, Shiva. All the words are pointing to an ultimate reality from which everything must have emanated. Unfortunately, not all who are part of this creation think on these lines, because Chaturvidham bhajate mam janaha sukritno arjunaha arto artharthi jidnyasu jnani cha bharatarshava. Arjuna, not everyone who is born in whichever jiva will think on the lines of what is the ultimate truth. Only the jidnyasu does it. And then, if once it is presumed that there must be logically a thing which is ultimate reality, then comes the question, what should be the nature of that reality? You cannot have dheya prapti unless dheya is defined. I want to be a doctor needs to be defined. An engineer needs to be defined. Then only adequate steps can be taken in the direction of becoming a doctor or becoming an engineer. Similarly, the ultimate truth needs to be defined. It need not be experienced to be defined, or it can be experienced and defined, but the definition, the contour has to be defined, the nama rupatmaka. The reason is, it has to come in the purview of the intellect. That which transcends the intellect, even though it is transcending the intellect, needs to be brought within the purview. If the searchlight of the intellect is not falling on the aim or the dhyay or the goal or the gantavya, then the whole exercise sadhana cannot happen. That is why those who traded on that path and have supposedly reached the destination have given the description of that ultimate reality, which we have not experienced but would like to have the knowledge of the same without experiencing. Having knowledge of anything without experiencing is called paroksha jnana, parikshata. Seeing through the eyes of somebody, which in epistemology or the pramana mimamsa is called shabda praman. Unfortunately, or as the things they are, those who have reached that place, those who have experienced that ultimate reality, have explained it in the manner which they deemed fit, which in our minds resulted into dichotomies, different schools of thought, different schools of description emerged out of that experience of reality. And that is where we try to see how they are sorted out in the Hindu pantheon. The darshanas are nothing else but the direct visualization of the reality as seen by the munis or the rishis of that particular school. And that is how the approach towards the reality of the Nayayikas, the Nyaya, Vaisheshikas, the Vaisheshika, the Sankhya, the Yoga, the Purva Mimamsa, the Uttara Mimamsa varies. They are complementary to each other. There is no antagonism involved, yet each of them have contributed a definite silver stream of thought, which then gets amalgamated into a complete philosophy. Although the most triumphant amongst all the darshanas seems to be the Uttara Mimamsa. However, the problem gets complicated further, because although Uttara Mimamsa seems to be triumphantic over the other darshanas, within Uttara Mimamsa itself, the interpretation of Brahma as the ultimate reality again differs depending upon the acharyas of the respective school of thought. And it is not a thought of somebody who had just come up from some place and started explaining what Brahman is. The thought process is delineated and also properly regulated by a stream of thought called Sampradaya. And amongst these school of thoughts under Uttara Mimamsa, again, the one which is most widely accepted and apparently the triumphant amongst them, according to some, being Kevala Dvaita. We saw in detail what Kevala Dvaita is. So in the battlefield of Uttara Mimamsa, at one end, there is lone fighter with a long dand in the hand called Shankaracharya, talking about Kevala Advaita. And on the other hand, there are others who are constantly attacking the philosophy or the thought process of Shankaracharya. They are Vishishtadvaita of Ramanujacharya, which we saw last time. And the attack is frontal. It is not just a weak attack. In fact, as we saw last time, the Sharanagati Gadyam or the philosophical treatises of Ramanujacharya sometimes even rivals the philosophy of Shankaracharya in exposition. So none of the acharyas were small. All the acharyas had authority and direct experience of the reality. That is why they reached the stage where they were. Ramanujacharya and his followers attacked Shankaracharya through a series of arrows. The first one of that was called Ashraya Anupapatti. The Ramanuja followers asked a question to Shankaracharya. You say that Maya or avidya has its ashraya in Brahma, because Maya or avidya, the Maya is what is for the samashti, for the vashti it is avidya. Ignorance or nescience, as it is called, is dependent because the substratum is Brahman. The question asked is, Maya or Ajnanam is like a darkness. And you are saying that the darkness is residing on Prakasha? If Maya and Avidya, how can they have their locus, their placement on knowledge? Impossible. Two opposite things cannot stay together. Ajnana is Andhakar. Brahman is Prakasha. And you are saying that the Ajnana is also having Ashraya in Brahma. If there is no Ashraya in Brahma, that means Ajnana or Maya has a separate existence. If there is a separate existence, then there are two truths. One is Brahma, one is Maya. You say Maya is not the truth. A refutation of Mayavad. Second arrow, the salvo they fire, Ramanuja followers, is Tirodhana Anupapatti. You say Maya or Ajnana is nothing else but absence of knowledge. All right. And you say Maya or Ajnana is covering Avarana, covering the Brahman. How it is possible for the darkness to envelop the light? Not possible. Because the moment it tries to cover, it will disappear. That means Maya cannot exist if the way you say, unless it is part of the Brahman itself. Maya is not vivarta. It is appearing and it disappears moment there is Brahmajnan. That is what Shankaracharya says. Ramanuja follower says that if it is appearing, then how can it have capacity to cover the knowledge itself? It cannot. Third thing is, what is the swarup of this Ajnana? You say Ajnana, Ajnana, Ajnana. Tell us the nature of this Ajnana. If it is positive in nature, that means it has existence. But you say, no, Ajnana doesn't have existence. And if it doesn't have existence, then what is the point in doing sadhana to do away with the Ajnana? Because anyway, it is not existing. If you say Ajnana exists, then you tell us the nature of Ajnana. If you say it is not existing or it is temporarily existing, then there is no effort required because anyway it is not existing. Why take efforts to remove it? The fourth salvo that is fired by the Ramanuja followers is, Shankaracharya, you say that it is anirvachaniya. Maya is anirvachaniya. Sat, asat, vilakshan. It is a truth, not a truth, and it is indescribable. Ramanuja followers laugh at that. He says, how can there be a thing in this world which is sat also, asat also, indescribable also? That which cannot be described cannot exist. This is a diametrically opposite stand taken by Ramanuja followers. Kevaladvaita or Shankaracharya says that which is Brahman cannot be described. Neti, neti, iti swarupa. There is no rupa. Neti, neti, only negation can be done with that because there is no positive description of that particular vastu, bhauma, called Brahman. Ramanuja followers say that that which cannot be described, how can it exist? You say Brahman doesn't have Aishwarya. Oh, that is Bhagavan. God has that, all the Aishwarya and everything, Kirti, Sampatti, Pratishtha, etc. All that is given to the God, not to the Brahman. Ramanujacharya say, why you want to make this difference? Those attributes, those are Kalyanakari guna, Kalyana guna, as he calls it. The Kalyana Guna is inherent in the Brahma. Why you are trying to make a Nirguna Brahma, Saguna Brahma? All is Saguna only. Having a Guna in a Brahma, what is your problem? Shankaracharya is not ready to accept any Guna in the Brahman, because he says, no, nothing doing with the Guna and all that. That is, if that is Apara Brahma, not Para Brahma. So he makes distinguish between Saguna Brahma and Nirguna Brahma. Ramanujacharya says there is nothing Nirguna. Saguna itself is him. All this Vaibhava of Narayana is Brahman. So in nutshell, the Ramanujacharya says Jagat and Brahman both are realities. According to Shankaracharya, Jagat is a vivarta, appearance of illusion for the time being till it is sublated. Ramanujacharya doesn't agree with that. He says Jagat, Brahma, both are realities. Jagat is formed out of Brahma. Shankaracharya says Jagat is not formed only. Brahma has no relation with Jagat at all. Ramanujacharya says no, Jagat is formed out of Brahman. It is real. Third thing he says is Brahma is Savishesh with infinite auspicious qualities. Yatte Rupam Kalyanatamam Tatte Pashyami, Ishavasyopanishad. Ramanujacharya interprets it this way. If the Ishavasyopanishad itself is saying Yatte Rupam Kalyanatamam Tatte Pashyami Hiranmayena Patrena, oh God, open yourself and show me your Kalyanakari Swarupa. So Ramanujacharya said the Upanishad is directly talking about Kalyanakari Rupa of Brahman. How can you say it is Nirguna? So Jagat is created out of Brahman only, and it has an Anga-Angi relation. How can you say that the finger is not part of my body? It is. It may be having a problem being a finger. It may be injured. It may be something. The body is not injured. The finger may be injured, but the fact remains this is the Ang of the body called Angi. So the Brahman is Angi. All the Jivas are Anga. Brahma is like a sea. Jivas are like the waves on that ocean. The waves does have and do have a kind of apparent existence, although they are coming from the water only. Duty of the human beings, that is why, is to only do worship and love of Narayana for the deliverance. So all the three, Ishvara, Jiva and Jagata, that is Ishvara, Chit and Achit, all three are realities. Maya is not an illusory power, it is a true creative power of the God. Why discard her? There is an element of disdain, contempt in Shankaracharya's Kevala Advaita about Maya. Ramanujacharya openly accepts Maya as his own creation. Individual Atman and Brahman are neither identical nor different. Jivo Brahma na paraha. That is what Kevala Advaita is. Ramanujacharya says that Jiv and Brahma are neither identical nor different. That is why it is Vishishta Advaita. That means it is a distinctive oneness, but not extreme oneness. What is distinctive oneness and extreme oneness? Kevala Advaita says extreme oneness. There is no difference. Jivo Brahma na paraha is extreme oneness. What is distinctive oneness? There is a difference between Jiva and Brahman. They are qualitatively same but quantitatively different. Mr. Ram is an officer. Officer is not Mr. Ram. Mr. Ram is an officer. That means he dons the robes of an officer and becomes officer. So when the officer is acting, Mr. Ram is already into it, but he is officer at that point of time. The reality is Mr. Ram. But officer alone, if you separate, is not Mr. Ram. But it cannot exist. The officer cannot exist without Mr. Ram. This is called a relationship between what is dawned as a Jiva and what is truth as a Brahman. So they are identical in one sense and different in another sense. As an officer, Ram is different compared to Ram as father. But Ram and officer cannot also be separated. So identical and difference at the same time. So such a relation is of a special relation, Vishishta. That is why Vishishta Advaita. If this is what the main Bhakti school of southern India by Sri Sampradaya, by Ramanujacharya, challenged the Shankaracharya through the same scripture called Brahma Sutra, through Sri Bhashya, but at least between Ramanujacharya and Shankaracharya, the differences were not that many. They were almost close to each other, keeping some areas of differences. However, there was one school of Uttara Mimamsa, Advaita, which was diametrically opposite to Shankaracharya, and that is called Dvaita Siddhanta of Madhvacharya. Dvaita Siddhanta of Madhvacharya is called unqualified dualism. Unqualified dualism meaning there is Dvaita. Jiva Brahma na paraha is not at all acceptable. Jiva Brahma Jiva Brahma paraha. The extreme stand taken by them. He is called as a born foe of Shankaracharya. If Shankaracharya has been completely and diametrically dissected by somebody through arguments, it is Madhvacharya. He is also called Ananda Tirtha or Purna Pradnya. Purna Pradnya. He is considered to be reincarnation of Vayu. Extremely brilliant exposition. He was there during the period of Krishna Devaraya in Karnataka. Wrote prolifically, more than 37 works have been written by him, but his commentary on Brahma Sutra called Madhva Bhashya or Purna Pradnya Pradarshan, Purna Pradnya Darshan, is the commentary on Brahma Sutra where he has threadbare attacked Shankaracharya. Sometimes even going to the extent that Advaitis are nothing else but deceitful demons. Danava, not to be taken very negatively, because the study of Kevaladvaita, for the sake of negating it, has been described in this commentary on Brahma Sutra by Madhvacharya so well that if one wants to know Kevaladvaita, it is worth reading Madhvacharya's book. Unless the opponent is clearly understood, he cannot be attacked through Vada. Madhvacharya says that why do you call Jagat as Mithya? First of all, Jagat is existing. Don't try to say that it is Anarvichane, Sat, Asat. I experience it every day. How can you deny it? Oh, it is all Maya, etc. Sir, I am every day experiencing it, suffering from it, enjoying it, having problems with it. I am living here. I am part of this. It cannot be said that something which doesn't exist has been created. And that also you don't want to relate to the Brahman. No, Jagat is real. Jagat is created by none else than Ishvara or Brahma. Why do you want to take away Ishwar Kartrutva? Ishwar Kartrutva is this Jagat. So accept it as real. Second, there are differences and differences are real. Why you want to say that there is a difference? And he has not only done that, Madhvacharya says there are 5 types of differences existing as real. There is a difference between Jiva and Ishvara. There is difference between Ishvara and Jada. There is difference between Jada and Jada. That stone and the tree, they are not same. Jiva and Jiva, me and you, every person is different. So there is a bheda there. Jiva and Jada, human beings and stone, different. So there is a Sagat, Swagata Bheda, Sajatiya Bheda, Vijatiya Bheda, all differences are real. That means there are Dvaita everywhere. That is called a Dvaitavad. Bhinnascha, Bhinna Dharmascha, Nikhila Ami. The world is full of differences. Differences are real because the world is real. God has created like that. Accept it. What is your problem? Why you want to negate it? This is the standpoint of Madhvacharya. His conception of Brahma is nothing else but the Vishnu or the Krishna, which is abode of infinite good qualities. Here he comes closer to the Bhakti Marga. The God is Satchit Ananda, and he can only be pleased by Bhakti, only be. The word only is more important. Madhvacharya doesn't speak of Jnana and all that. The Jnana is something he says it comes on the way. You don't have to really try for it. All you try is do Bhakti and please the God, the Brahman. God is transcendent as well as immanent. Transcendent you receive when you reach there, but immanent as Antaryami in every Jiva. According to Madhvacharya, Lakshmi, the consort of Vishnu, is abode of all auspicious qualities, but slightly inferior to Vishnu. Some of his postulations are sometimes slightly shocking to us. He considers Jiva of 3 types, Baddha, Mukta and Nitya Mukta. There are some Jivas always free. They are not Baddha at all. They don't require Mumukshata, Mokshata, Moksha, because they are already in Mukta Avastha called Nitya Mukta. Mind well, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, out of his 14 direct disciples, has labeled 6 disciples as Nitya Mukta. Because in our mind, we think Dvaita is something which has to be discarded because we are Advaiti. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was a worshipper of Kali. His method of sadhana was bhakti, and he used to always speak about Shankaracharya's Jnanam. We are trying to study different schools of thought to understand or create a background before the Kevala Dvaita interpretation of Shankaracharya of Brahma Sutra starts, so that we have a wider canvas for understanding. However, these are not diametrically opposite views to be done with exclusion. During the process of sadhana, depending upon the swadharma and the swabhava, one shall get into one or the other. So Baddha, Mukta and Nitya Mukta, these are the 3 types of jivas as Madhvacharya proposes it. According to him, the matter, the soul, is not the body of the God. Ramanujacharya says the Achit or the matter, the Jiva, the Jagat, these are all parts of God's body. Madhvacharya says they are not, they are different. That means Ramanujacharya believes in what is called quantitative pluralism but qualitative monism. Madhvacharya is at the other extreme. He says qualitatively also they are different, quantitatively also they are different. Second is Madhvacharya says the liberation comes in degrees, krama mukti. He does not believe in liberation at once, which the Ramanujacharya believes. According to Ramanujacharya, once you get mukti, the mukta jeev enjoys all the powers or the vaibhava of God, Vishnu, except creation and dissolution. Mukta jeev, according to Ramanujacharya, is as powerful as Vishnu, except the power of creation and dissolution. If one was keen observer of Patanjali Yoga Sutras, there was a reference in Patanjali Yoga Sutra about the yogi becoming as powerful as Purusha, except the power of creation and dissolution, because that sankalpa has been made by somebody earlier called Ishvara, first Ishvara. There is a similarity here. However, Madhvacharya says that even if the jiva becomes mukta, he cannot be having powers of Vishnu. He can be close to the Vishnu, but the powers of Vishnu will never be same with the mukta jiva, even if he is mukta. That is why the Madhvacharya is credited with the creation of these 4 types of muktis called Salokata, Sarupata, Samipata and Sayujjata. These 4 muktis are the creation of Madhvacharya. Now in Kevala Dvaita also we use it, but the main creator of that is him, because he said inch by inch you can go closer to the Vishnu. Salokata, Sarupata, Samipata and Sayujjata. Sayujja doesn't mean becoming Vishnu. See, that is the difference between Shankaracharya and Madhvacharya. Shankaracharya says Brahmeva bhavati. Brahmavid, Brahmeva bhavati. Madhvacharya says Brahmavid. That means Vishnuvid never will become Brahma, never will become Vishnu. He may go close, close, close. This is called stage-wise going closer, but not becoming one. There is one more aspect to Madhvacharya, and the only school of thought in Indian history. In the entire Indian philosophy, Madhvacharya is the only one who says there are certain jivas that are never liberated. They never get mukti. The jivas like ghosts, spirits, demons are never liberated. All our other schools, all of them, take anyone, they say none in this world is despicable. Everybody will be getting realization or mukti sometime or the other. Madhvacharya says there are certain jiva which will never get mukti, like the demons and the ghosts and the spirits, etc. That is why the concept of shaitan is there in Saturn, or shaitan is there in other religions. Hinduism doesn't have concept of shaitan at all, except the indirect reference here in Madhvacharya's philosophy. The dialectical skill, the skill of vada samvada, the skill of explaining the point of view, Madhvacharya is considered to be the best dialectical skill ever given in Indian history of philosophy. He was expert in putting forward his contention in the most judicious manner. That is why he and his disciples, Jayatirtha, Vyasatirtha, they became so popular during those period that in 13th century, disciple of Madhvacharya called Vyasatirtha wrote a scripture called Nyayamruta. It became unrivaled text throughout India. After about 100 years or so, it was Madhusudan Saraswati Maharaj who again came back as a staunch proponent of Kevala Advaita and defeated threadbare by discussing this Nyayamruta Grantha by writing Advaita Siddhi. See the beauty. The Dvaitacharya wrote a scripture which became popular in India throughout the Bharatvarsha. It got refuted by the Vyasa, by the Madhusudan Saraswati Maharaj as the proponent of Kevala Advaita, and Madhusudan Maharaj himself became a bhakta of Sri Krishna in his later life. What is the gist of the moral of the whole thing? The moral is each branch of philosophy is ultimately talking about nothing else but realization. So let us not keep in the mind that they are different, distinct castles fighting with each other. There is a lot of complementarity in them. So we saw Kevala Advaita, Vishishtadvaita, and Dvaita. There is Shuddhadvaita also proposed by Vallabhacharya. It is not proposed by him, it is popularized by him. Actually, the founder of Shuddhadvaita is one called Vishnu Swami. Vallabhacharya was a Telugu Brahmin. He was a Telugu Brahmin, and he carried forward the Rudra Sampradaya and developed it further into what is called as Pushti Marga. Our daily Hindu life is enriched by all these acharyas. We do not know that when we do a particular thing, when we do Hari Bhajana, we are following Dvaita. When we sing the ballads of Balakrishna, we are following Shuddha Dvaita. When you are trying to meditate on Nirguna Brahma, we are following Kevala Dvaita. When we are talking about Vishnu and his bhajanas and doing Archana through Sharanagati, we are silently following. When we prostrate in front of the Lord in any temple, we are following Ramanujacharya. When we are singing through the bhajans, the ballads of Sri Krishna, we are surreptitiously following nothing else but Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. So this Shuddha Dvaita, what is it? Kevala Advaita says that all that is seen, created, God, right from God down, everything is all false or all illusory or all temporary, all vivarta. Only the Nirguna Brahma is truth. So Keval Advaita. Ramanuja says all that is created as body, jiva, jagat, etc. is nothing else but the body of the same Brahman. So they look different, but they are one. That is called Vishishta Advaita. Madhvacharya says, Jiva, Jagat and Brahman all different than each other. And they will remain different. Dvaitavada. Shuddhadvaita says that Brahman created the Jiva and Jagat as himself. Why you want to say that it is qualitatively different, one but quantitatively different like Ramanujacharya? Why you say like Shankaracharya that it is completely different, only Brahman is true? Vallabhacharya says, Jagat is also true, but God only. Jiva is also God only. Brahman is also Brahma only. Everything is Krishna Maya. Shuddha Advaita. There is no Ashuddhata anywhere. Why the word Shuddha was used? Because Shankaracharya used the word as Shabala Brahma. Shabala Brahma means what? That Brahma which is Nirguna Nirakar, when it becomes Saguna Sakar, it is called Apara Brahma. That Apara Brahma is a Shabala. That means Ashuddha because of Maya. Maya makes the Brahma Ashuddha, Shabala. This is the point which is refuted by Vallabhacharya. He says, no, Maya is his own creation. Why call her dirty or illusory? It is his own creative power. So, Maya is also Shuddha Brahma. Brahma also is Shuddha Brahma. Jiva also Shuddha Brahma. Jagat, Shuddha Brahma. Achetan, Shuddha Brahma. All Shuddha. Shuddha Dvaita. Naturally, the question is asked, we are all suffering, we are all wicked people, we are all having anger, and I am a Shuddha Brahma, then why am I having all these things? Vallabhacharya says, I will explain. Wait. This world is not a parinam. If you take gold and make ornaments out of it, you think gold has changed? It has taken a shape and we call it a bangle, we call it a necklace, but it is gold only, sir. So the whole creation is not Vikruta Parinam. What is Vikruta Parinam? The milk becoming dahi, curd. When the milk becomes the curd, it is Vikruta Parinam. Why? Because curd cannot become milk. But gold becoming necklace is avikruta parinam. You melt the necklace, it will become gold. You create a necklace out of gold, it will become necklace. So the world and the creation is avikruta parinam of Brahma. Brahma is there. From that Brahma only the Jeev got created. From the Brahma only. So what is this? Is parinam of Brahma. Avikruta parinam. Kevaladvaita says Brahma did not change at all. Brahma doesn't change. Jagat is an appearance. Shuddhadvaita says Brahma has not undergone change. The Chit and Achit, the Jiva and Jagat is a part of his body. Shuddhadvaita says it is a parinam, but avikruta parinam. Vallabhacharya says, when you take a burning wood, there is a fire in the burning wood, and you shake the burning fire, lot of sparks come out of it. Do you say that the sparks are different than the fire? They cannot be. Similarly, all the jivas, all the creation is nothing else but the spulling of the Brahma. Then comes the question, if I am the Brahman as Shuddha as Brahma, then why am I suffering? He says, God or the Brahma or the Krishna manifests as Sat existence. That is, everybody has that aspect of Brahman because everything is Brahman. So for that matter, even this is Brahma because it is existing. Sat aspect is there, it is existing. Existence is an aspect of the Brahma in this. So this is also Brahma. Only thing is it doesn't have other two aspects. Which are that? It doesn't have an aspect of Chit. That's why it doesn't move. So this is a Brahma with one aspect. What about me? I am Brahma with two aspects. I am existing also and I can move also. Sat and Chit aspect. Then why everybody is unhappy? The third aspect called Ananda is absent in us. It is covered. That is why we are dukhi. All we need to do is, we are Brahman, we have Sat and Chit aspect as human beings, the bliss aspect is missing, the Ananda aspect is missing. All you do is try through bhakti of Krishna to get that aspect and you are done. This is Shuddhadvaita. The deity given to us as Brahma for realizing this Ananda aspect of ours, because Satchit aspect we already have. Ananda aspect is covered because of misuse of the Chit aspect. That will be corrected through bhakti of Bala Krishna. So the deity here is not Vishnu, not Narayana, Bala Krishna, not even Krishna, Bala Krishna. All the places where Vallabhacharya went throughout India are considered to be the most pious places because he was direct reincarnation of Balakrishna. So all the some 142 places in India are considered auspicious by this particular marga. And this marga is called Pushti marga for a specific reason. Vallabhacharya says, just keep doing bhajan, keep praying for Lord Krishna and you will get your salvation. Then what about this study of scriptures and jnanam and karma marga and everything? He says that is Maryada marga. He says you can go by Maryada marga. I have no problem. Karma, jnana, upasana is Maryada marga, individual efforts. You have to really try hard to be chitta shuddhi, you have to do. Then after that you will do upasana, meditation. Then thereafter you will get jnanam. Yes, that is Maryada marga. Why he calls it as a Maryada marga? He says individual has a Maryada because individual jiva is alpa shakti. His reliance is on Sri Krishna. So he says, go by Pushti Marga. What is Pushti Marga? Have the purest possible heart and just keep doing bhakti of Sri Krishna. He will himself take care of you. You don't have to do any efforts. He will do efforts for you through his grace. That grace is called Pushti. But where it is said in Vedas like this, he says, look at the Ishavasyopanishad. Pushanne karme yamasurya prajapatya vyuha rashmin samuha tejaha. Pushanne karme. Oh Lord, oh Pushan Karta, you are my Poshan Karta, Pushana. You are the one who are nourisher for me. That nourishment given by the Lord through his blessings called the grace. He will take care of everything. All you do is have purest possible chitta and surrender to him, to the Balakrishna. This is called Shuddhadvaita.
Rio Pradeep ji, I think connection is lost.
Yeah, I think Sanjay ji's connection is lost.
Sanjay ji, please unmute.
So if we just take for the sake of understanding a huge football field, and there are two goalposts on either side. On one goalpost, Shankaracharya is standing with Kevala Advaita. On another goalpost, Dvaita is standing with Madhvacharya. They are extremely opposite to each other in terms of ideology. In between, it's standing Ramanujacharya saying that Shankaracharya is also true and Dvaita is also true, but effectively it is Advaita only. Vallabhacharya is saying that goalpost, this goalpost, me, everything is Advaita only. Why you are fighting? Shuddha Advaita. While Nimbarkacharya says Bhed and Abhed, Dvait and Advait, both are true. How? He says, when there is a ghata formed, a pot is formed out of a clay. A ghat is formed out of bruttika, clay. Now, is it same or is it different? A ghat can hold a water. Clay cannot hold a water. So there is a difference as far as that qualitative aspect is concerned. Yes. So ghata is definitely different than the clay. At the same time, if you destroy the ghatam, what will remain? Only clay. That means ghatam is not possible without the clay. Yet ghatam has different qualities compared to the clay. That means there is a difference between clay and the pot. At the same time, there is no difference between clay and the pot. Pretty logical. Pot cannot exist without clay. Agreed? But clay cannot function those things which the pot can do. Agreed? That means Bheda is also true. Abheda is also true. So the middle ground, so right at the central line of the football field, Nimbarkacharya is standing. Shuddhadvaita and Vishishtadvaita is on the goalpost of Shankaracharya side. Bheda Bheda or Dvaita Dvaita of Nimbarkacharya is at the central line. And on the extreme other end is Madhvacharya. This is how the whole philosophy of Uttara Mimamsa is divided. Nimbarkacharya says, when you light a fire, naturally there is smoke. So can you say that smoke is the lakshan of fire? No, smoke may indicate that the fire is there, But smoke is not the lakshan of the fire, because fire is brilliant. There is no smoke in fire. Fire is pure. Yet, smoke comes out of fire. How do you explain this? Smoke is completely cloudy. Fire is brilliant, red, hot. Smoke is smoky, dirty, colored. Yet, they are associated with each other. Smoke is there, that means fire has to be there. Smoke is created by the fire, yet smoke is not the fire. You see the relationship? This is called Dvaita Dvaita. Bheda Bheda. The only difference is the Jiva and Jagat, they don't have Swatantra Sabha Satta Bhava. They are Paratantra Satta Bhava, while the Ishvara, the Vishnu, is Swatantra Satta Bhava. That is the only difference that you have. Otherwise, all these differences that we see are all there. Nimbarkacharya doesn't say that the differences are not there. He says differences are there. That is also true. Difference is not there. That is also true. So if somebody is trying to allege him, saying that he's not taking a stand, it is not that. His stand itself is this stand. That is also true. This is also true. How? And he has given these two brilliant examples. Ghatam and Mrittika are not same at the same. Yes, depends on which standpoint you look it at. So there is one Acharya who says everything is different, Madhvacharya. There is one Acharya
Sanjay's audio is active, video is active, but sound is not coming.
It is mute now. Sanjay ji, you are mute.
every effect has to have a cause. Then Ajnan also has to have a cause. Maya has to also have a cause. That time you say Maya doesn't have a cause. Why? You want to keep Brahma as Nishkriya, Nirakar. Sometimes we feel Shankaracharya is right. Sometimes we feel Dvaita is right. Sometimes we feel Ramanujacharya is right. That is why the last school of philosophy called Achintya Bheda Bheda, propounded by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, from whom the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, ISKCON and all that came, they believe in Achintya Bheda Bhed. Means what? Forget it. You cannot understand Bhed, Abhed. This is all God has created. It is beyond our understanding. Intellect cannot understand these at all. Why fight about it? The stand taken is just surrender to Krishna and enjoy what he gives. Don't try to think what Krishna has created. How can a child will come to know what the father is? Achintya. Impossible to think. Unthinkable identity and difference. Is difference true? Is identity true? How identity and differences are related to each other? Not possible to understand. That itself is a philosophy. Achintya Bheda Bhed. And mind well, this is not just a statement. It's a profound philosophy written by Mahaprabhu Chaitanya's disciple. Mahaprabhu Chaitanya himself did not write much. He just wrote one Ashtasutri, that's all. Because he was constantly intoxicated with the bliss of Krishna. So much so that he could not even stand on his feet. He has to be supported. He could not see even a lady walking on the road, because he used to directly get the realization of Radha, and he would start getting into the trance. So he didn't write anything, but his disciples, those are called Shad Goswamis, the Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Jiva Goswami, Raghunath Bhatt, Raghunath Das, and Gopal Bhatt. Out of that, Rupa Goswami wrote those brilliant expositions called Ujjvala Neelamani and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, in which this philosophy is completely explained. And they say Bhagavan has three Shaktis. Sat Chit Anand is considered as three Shaktis. One is called Sandhini Shakti, Samvit Shakti, that means Sat and Chit. The last one is called Ananda or the Ladini Shakti. The Ladini Shakti of Krishna is the one that we have to achieve and get from him. Because once you get Ladini Shakti, then you are in the Vrindavana with the Lord's Krishna's presence and his eternal Leela that is going on. Everything is of Lord Krishna. You are also Lord Krishna's, nothing else but Gopa or Gopi. Don't think yourself as human being. Think of yourself as Gopa or Gopi and become Radha. All this is possible through bhakti. And bhakti can be done as told in the scriptures called Vidhi Bhakti. It is inferior. Higher bhakti is called Ruchi or the Raga Nuga Bhakti. So much bhakti that you cannot remain alive without meeting Krishna. Jnaneshwar Maharaj, the one who is considered to be the Jnana Margi and Advaiti, he is a Jnaneshwari, he has written, Chandanachi poli majhe anga anga zari. Chandan is supposed to cool you down. He says, I am wearing the garment made out of sandalwood, but still my body is burning with the desire of meeting Kanhu, Kanha, Krishna. So the aim of Achintya Veda Ved or this Mahaprabhu Chaitanya's Gaudi Vaishnava Sampradaya is devote yourself to the Krishna and be constantly into the Nitya Vrindavana Dham. Radhe, 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 Radhe Govinda Vrindavana Chandra. Anatha Natha Dina Bandhu, Radhe Govinda. Consecrate yourself to the Lord Krishna. That is how these different philosophies, main of them, we have tried to see through the outlines only of Kevaladvaita, Vishishtadvaita, Shuddhadvaita, Dvaitadvaita, Achintya Veda Veda. The 5 schools, 4 of them standing against Shankaracharya. Now that we know all their stand, in short, it will become easier for us when we start Brahma Sutra from the next session to understand when Shankaracharya makes a comment on one of these people. We should not get confused. What is he talking about? Because at least we have bare minimum background to understand the Bhashyam. So now perhaps we are geared up to start with Brahma Sutra Bhashya by Shankaracharya, and now we have maybe little bit, but have qualified for the word Athato. Now that now is now being qualified after doing this much of outline study. Then we will be starting from the next session the actual text and the Bhashyam of Shankaracharya. Hari Om. Om Purnam Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Sanjay ji, will wait for some questions.
Very interesting, Sanjay ji. Thank you very much for the great introduction. We have covered 5 sessions now just introduction only. And it was, as you said, it gives a base or fundamental knowledge about before learning Brahma Sutra actually. So this Sri Ram and Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna is supposed to be Leela Purushottaman and Sri Rama Maryada Purushottaman. This school of thinking is coming from which school? I mean, this thought is coming from which school of thinking?
The Leela of Leela word and the Leela is the product of Shuddhadvaita and the Gaudiya Sampradaya, the Achintya Veda Veda. The reason why they say it is they are so much opposed to Shankaracharya. They say that this Shankaracharya man, Acharya, has spoiled the whole philosophy by saying that this is all Maya, this is all Maya. These people, they say that this is Lord Krishna's creation. How can it be bad? How can it be illusory? Then why is he doing this? Why is he making some people suffer from this? Some people do this, some people adnyanam, etc. He says, no, this is all his game, Leela. Actually, the word Leela deserves one session. What is a Leela? Why that word Leela has come? What is the concept of Leela in the philosophy? But that apart, Leela means it's a play, because Manushya has karma to do. Manushya has karma to do. Higher souls have krida to do. That is not called karma, it is called krida. And Bhagavan, what he does is called Leela. Leela means by virtue of his own volition, he decides to create something for the sake of his own entertainment by he becoming many. See, the last word is very important. So the jiva who is suffering is also Ishvara. The cause of suffering may be different, but when the same jiva tries to get out of the suffering and becomes the bhakta of the Bhagavan, then the Bhagavana Bhakta Leela, the Sri Krishna Gopa Gopi Radha Leela, is the highest of the Ladini Shakti exposition. That is why the Leela word, this as Gokula, Leela, Vrindavana, Nitya Leela, Rasa Leela, all has been propounded by all the followers of Shuddha Dvaita, that is Pushti Marga, then Nimbarkacharya's Marga, then Gaudiya Sampradaya, and may not be so much by the word Krishna, but using Narayana, the Sri Sampradaya also believes in it. However, you do not find so much of dance recitals and all in the Sri Sampradaya, because Madhura Dvaita is practiced in Nimbarkacharya. Vallabhacharya, because of Balakrishna, they practice. So Gaudiya Sampradaya is more into ecstasies, dancing. In fact, there are sutras which says that if you are ashamed of dancing for the sake of Lord, you deserve not to be a bhakta. Some of the Sri Sampradaya bhajanas are also like that. Namadeva kirtan kari prema bharanache Panduranga. Namadeva is doing kirtan and Panduranga is dancing. See, these are all ecstatic features brought through the Leela Prasanga only in order to experience Lord's Leela own form. So Leela is coming from this school of thought. Maryada Purushottam Ram as a reincarnation is incorporated into all the schools of thought. In Kevala Dvaita, it is Ram, Bhagavan Sri Ram is considered as a reincarnation of Apara Brahma. In other places, for example, those who consider Krishna as superior, Rama is taken as his appearance. Those who consider Rama as the avatar, they consider Ram as the superior. So it is just the assumption and giving the position into different pantheons created by individual school of thoughts. Hari.
We have Sri Narayana Guru. He has written a famous Deva Dashakam, in which there is a stanza Niyalo Mayayum Mayaviyum Maya Vinodanam, Niyalo Maya Niki Sayujan Nalgumanam. You are the Maya and you are the Mayavi, And you are the one Maya Vinodan who is getting entertained from Maya. And
Correct.
you are the one who dispels the Maya. He has included everything, incorporated into one, just one stanza.
Correct. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And for Narayan Guru Maharaj, Acharya par excellence, not only talked about this in this manner, at the same time, you could see in this line and his creation of a last temple where he only put mirror as the deity.
Yeah. Yes.
Example of how every individual jiva is considered as nothing else but the Brahma. Hari Om.